you to know that was a big standing ovation that just got there. You can barely see it because of the lights, but that was just fantastic. Do you want to hold the mic instead of... I think the audience is going to share with you. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so look at this. I'm the same guy. Can you hear me?
You can do like the rock star, like hold the mic stand towards you. Yeah, absolutely. Did you ever find the cat?
The cat's always with me. There were two cats in the movie. Two. And I had a clicker in my hand.
And that's how you got the cat to react at certain times?
So we did. This is a whole team.
Oh,
This is everyone.
the cat wranglers.
What's that?
The cat wranglers that you had to make that all happen.
Yeah, the family of the cats.
How did all this happen? What was the genesis of this project?
Well, my parents took me to song and dance school when I was
Yeah, we'll start at the very beginning. But I think when I remember when this movie came out, and let's just be honest, the studio did not really know how to sell this movie.
I can't be anything but honest.
Okay, good. So this will be fun. The Robert Altman was criticized for like subverting the ethos of Philip Marlowe, but my understanding is that this all began with Lee Brackett's adaptation of Chandler's novel that actually is, except for the end, is pretty darn faithful to the book. So how did you get involved to play Philip Marlowe? Because I think
Picker was running United Artists, and I was needing a job, as most of us do, and from time to time, and I went in to meet him, and at that time there was another rather significant Hollywood director who we thought was going to be directing the picture. And he could not see me in it. And David Picker was always quite positive and friendly and encouraging to me and my work. So even though he had had a problem, so I was told, with Robert Altman, who was a rebel, he called Altman and sent him the script. And Altman called me from Canada, where he was doing a picture that I think is still called Images with Susanna York. And Altman called me, and all he said was, "What do you think?" I'm trying not to be emotional. And I said, I always wanted to play that guy. I always wanted to play that guy. And Altman said, "You are that guy." And that was it.
And I just want to mention this. Elliott does a reading of The Long Goodbye, the audiobook of The Long Goodbye, that is absolutely fantastic.
Oh,
I absolutely love it. So anybody who is, if you didn't like Elliott Gould as Philip Marlowe in the movie, you will love Elliott Gould as Philip Marlowe in the audiobook, because it is sensational.
But I mean, the movie is more than everything to me. The movie is my life. This movie.
Fantastic. It's so interesting because when I watch this movie now, I do not see what was so unusual about it at the time. I feel like this is just you and Altman are overlaying a fresh sensibility over that form, those Raymond Chandler stories and the whole detective genre and everything. And I think this movie plays it much straighter than people realize.
Even you and me.
And
it's faithful to what people are.
Absolutely. And where people thought, well, Elliott Gould is like subverting and riffing on Humphrey Bogart and all this stuff, to me it just felt like, yeah, that's Elliott Gould being that character. And it just feels so right. And I have to say that I really do think this is one of the great depictions of Los Angeles of this era. This movie feels so much like an LA movie. And I know that Chandler would have hated it, because he hated everything, of course.
You're wrong.
You think he would have liked it?
Chandler would love it.
Oh, well, okay. Why do you think that? Why do you think
because
he would?
I'm very close to his spirit.
Okay, very. Yes, and what is your take on the ending of this film? Because that's what kind of blew people away, no pun intended. But yeah, I mean, that was the subversive thing in this film. It feels normal up until the end, where Marlowe is like, enough.
When you see people come out and sing and dance, that's probably abnormal, in terms of how we're conditioned in this world right now. Thank you.
So I had heard that was the reason Altman really wanted to make this movie, was because it was that ending.
Well, I said David Picker, who was the company guy, he wasn't thrilled in his mind prior to this with Bob Altman. And, oh my goodness, one of the other guys who was a friend said, "You must be very proud." Now, I know that pride is the first deadly sin, and I'd rather love than be proud.
Okay. And you clearly loved this material. What was your experience with Raymond Chandler before you say, I wanted to play that part? Had you read the books? Had you seen the movies?
I always wanted to play that part. I mean, I could never compare with Humphrey, with Bogey. Bogey was like, I've seen Sahara 1,000,000 times. I know everything he's ever done, and I couldn't copy him. Actually, a friend of mine, who was the only person who ever tried to slug me, Ray Stark, he produced another picture called Funny Girl. Some of us may have seen it. She'll be fine, but he lived in Bogey's house, and I didn't need a call. All you have to do is pucker your lips and blow. I mean, to have and have not. So what was it? Oh no, Robert Altman. I couldn't have done it. The fellas, my castmates from the Ocean's movies, said to me when we were on one of the Ocean's movies, the ink on the face, was that an improvisation? And I said, well, what that was a sampling of the kind of trust and confidence that Bob Altman and I have. I keep it in the present, so long as one of us is here in one another. That's what we miss in this world. Real confidence, trust, honesty, and commitment to life.
Yeah. Was a lot of your performance improvised?
Oh, wow. Well, we got the great Vilma Sigmund photographing this, who escaped Hungary. We're going to have to escape Hungary again. Yeah, I do. I listen to the news. And Laszlo Kovacs and Vilma Sigmund. Oh, Vilma Sigmund. Oh, my goodness. I mean, I remember almost everything, but just like with MASH, which was the first time that Bob worked with me, more comes out because these movies become your life. I mean, we're in them. We are a part of them. They're about us. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm telling you, it's wonderful. It's like for me, this film is like, there's a girl in high school that you really didn't like. And then you grow up and you meet her again, and you completely fall in love with her. Like, why didn't I see who
What
she
was her name?
Lisa. Her name was Lisa, but that's not important. but it's like, and now this movie is just, it hits me.
He made it for now.
Yeah, exactly. This movie does not really
We
age.
always worked in the present.
So how weird is it to watch this movie, which came out in 1973, and in a non-speaking role, you see the future governor of California in a non-speaking...
Embarrassing.
Let's
be honest. I isn't he in the cabinet?
It is kind of... Because I used to say, explaining the unexplainable, people would say, "Can you believe that?" And I would just say, "Schwarzenegger is the governor." That was like my response to how could this possibly be happening? But there you go. And now he wouldn't be so bad. You say, why isn't he in the cabinet? He'd be better than anybody in the cabinet.
It's more honest.
I noticed the film is dedicated to Dan Blocker.
Oh, yes.
Can you explain why that is?
Dan Blocker, who was Hoss in Bonanza, was a great friend of Bob's. Bob and Dan Blocker were great friends early in their careers. And Bob was casting Dan Blocker to be Roger Wade. But then Dan Blocker passed away. And so we needed someone to play Roger Wade. And I had thought, John Huston, my goodness, John Huston, I have a daughter.
You're not sleeping with her, I hope, Mr. Kitts.
Yeah. We're friends. Oh, Jacka took care of that.
So you thought John Huston would have been a great Roger Wade.
Gee, don't you? You can see that.
Yeah, he would have been fantastic. But instead, Sterling Hayden is unbelievable in this movie. He is so fantastic.
A category of performances through the ages that have been overlooked and neglected, and I would make him one of them. He's unbelievably great in the movie.
And he is fantastic. The whole cast is fantastic, top to bottom. Everybody is great. And of course, Altman was noted for his unusual casting choices. Like, who in the world would have cast Henry Gibson as Dr. Veringer and then pull off the scene where he belts Hayden in the face?
Wow.
Which is a stunning moment. It's absolutely fantastic.
You know, I got much more out of the picture here with you today because I have some confidence for someone like me, or even the character that I had the amazing opportunity to play in this picture. Nobody believes in him. He's a joke. He's like a stray cat.
Well, I call him Rip Van Marley.
Oh, well, he did.
Right?
Yeah.
Because
Did you write that?
Did somebody else come up with that before me?
Yes, it was Robert Altman.
Oh, okay.
He was a flyer, you know, in World War II, I think. He flew. He had many combat missions. And I remember when I got fired from the theater. I didn't like that, but I enjoy being able to be creative. And I'm a chorus chorus boy, and I was a tap dancer, and even Warren Beatty tells me he's a better tap dancer than me, but that's impossible, but you can't tell Warren anything. Well, Warren does almost everything better than me. He's great and brilliant. But Altman gave me the script of MASH and asked me to come in and meet him, and he said to me, how would you feel about playing the American Southerner in this picture? And I said, I never question work. All I want to do is work, you know. And I could do it. I would work at it and get some people, you know, even Henry Gibbons, I mean, the guy who plays Behringer could teach me his accent. But I said, if you haven't cast Trapper John McIntyre, I got the juice that you need for that. I got it inside of me. And he gave me the part.
Is there any difference when you're acting with professional actors versus people who really, like Jim Bouton, who was like a ball player turned actor, and
he wrote Ball 4.
Yeah,
he couldn't have sex the night before a doubleheader or a game. It was hysterical. And they made a bubble gum for him. Bouton was fabulous. And Bob at one point thought he wanted Donald Sutherland to do it. And well, I mean, Dick Zanuck was running 20th Century Fox, and at that point, I was very fortunate to have had a chance to work with and for Paul Mazursky in Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice, and then do MASH, you know, and so I was really hot. And so Dick Zanuck said, you and Donald have the same deal. Neither. Tom Skerritt, it doesn't get better than Tom Skerritt. And everyone in the picture is phenomenal, the original. Yeah. And so Dick Zanuck said to me in the gardens at a gathering at the Beverly Hills Hotel, would you take first billing? And I said, gee, that's really tempting. And Donald is my friend. I love Donald. And no, he's here first. I'll get here. I certainly would not do that. I'm such a privilege to have done work with Donald Sutherland. Doesn't get better.
Elliott, you've had such an incredibly magnificent career, and it has lasted so long. And
I'll
just
never give up.
You know, how emotional you get talking about your colleagues and the people you've worked with, and how grateful you are. What has been the through line for you?
My parents.
How so?
I was conceived, born, and here I
am. Some people would say, oh, my parents, because I had to get away from them. They're what inspired me, you know.
Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, and, I mean, they divorced, but I mean, so did Barbara and I. Let's hear it.
I do want to go back for a second, though, to talk a little bit.
I mean, I don't even wear a watch, but there is no time. Let's order something in.
I just want to talk a little bit more about Sterling Hayden, because I find him such a remarkable character, and he is basically, if you don't know about Sterling Hayden, he is basically playing himself in this movie, because at that time, he really wanted to, he did not like being an actor. He did not think it was a noble profession. Sorry, Elliott. And he wanted to be a writer, right? And he was in the midst of writing his epic seafaring novel, Voyage. But he suffered from horrible writer's block. And I just think it was lightning in a bottle for Altman to cast him in this role, because it was, man, there is nothing but truth and honesty coming out of that guy on screen.
Wow. Well, I visited him. He lived on a peniche. It was like a raft in Paris. And then I think he had it sent to Northern California. And so I saw him, and when Bob asked me to sit down with him alone in the house, in the Wade house that we use in the picture where Bob and Catherine lived when they were shooting this, just the two of it, just Sterling with me. And I knew that Sterling knew that I knew that Sterling knew. And I knew that he knew that I understood him just like I understand you.
That was a very Sidney Greenstreet response. I like talking to a man who likes to talk to a man who likes to talk. Very good. And how about Nina Van Palat, who's wonderful in this film? I think she, if I'm not mistaken, she was kind of not really a trained actress, I don't think, and had been kind of involved in some notorious affairs or some such thing that
you haven't
notoriety.
That clunked. You haven't ever been involved in a notorious affair.
It hasn't been revealed yet.
Nina Van Palat, Bob asked me, it's the only test that I did with him, to do her screen test. And that's where I found my jacket and my pants and the tie and the shirt and the shoes. And I didn't know that that David Bowie had sung backup for her prior to her coming into the movies. David Bowie, do you know him? It's that thing from, it's like we landed on the moon. Sure we did.
I have to do a little more research on this, but I do believe that Robert Mitchum had held the record for most cigarettes smoked on film and out of the past, but I think you might top him in this
No,
movie.
I could not top him. I loved him. And friends of mine who did Anzio with him said they called him the Goose, which you could understand to see with his chin and how he looked. He was great. What a great guy. And I still haven't heard the record. There's a record of Hitchcock directing Robert Mitchum in Night of the Hunter.
It's Charles Lawton directing.
Oh, I mean Charles.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. But how do you run with a cigarette in your mouth? How many takes did you have to do when you're chasing her in the sports car and the cigarette? The cigarette gag is great in this movie, even when you're knocked out.
I didn't even realize. Oh no, I had to, because one of the things that Bob and I talked about is after I got hit by the car, he wanted to know if the cigarette was still in my mouth, if the cigarette was going to be lit. And that was his suggestion, and yeah, it's still lit. Smoke it, like I said, till the end. I'll always be here.
And I don't understand. Looking back at some of the reviews at the time, critics thought that the film was kind of ripping on the old Hollywood stuff, and that Altman was subverting it somehow. But it's so affectionate. The guy at the gate doing the impressions of the stars.
Thank you.
And it, all of that, and little gags like that, like the detective always is lighting up a cigarette. Those
Jack Riley, who plays the piano, he's great.
Yeah,
he's such a beautiful artist. Man, I'd love to know the name. I didn't look for it. Of the guy at the gate was unbelievable.
His name is Ken Sansom or Sansom.
Could have been Ben Mankiewicz. I don't know.
Ben can't do imitations. He cannot do imitations. There was another question.
It's okay. It's okay.
Thank you. So, is this your favorite of the films that you've
I
made?
don't have any. Oh, I love everyone. And I've done some stinkers. I love to work. And the interaction of people, of workers, from any job. The guy at the gate, you make me to be in the movies, oh, Barbara Harris was a great artist from the Second City. She did a number in The Apple Tree, which was a musical that she had done on Broadway that I believe Mike Nicholas directed, and that Alan Alda was in. I wanted to be in it. I was so lucky that I wasn't in it, you know. But she did a number in it called A Movie Star. A movie star. Wow, the movies. And the first guys who come to mind are Laurel and Hardy. There we are. There's our mishpucha. It's a Gentile audience.
I have to share this with you. So I have introduced this movie once before with Elliott on the TCM Classic Movie Cruise, right? And we were talking about this, and when I got to I asked about the score for this film, because John Williams, yes, that John Williams, composed the theme to this movie, which is so cleverly played throughout the film by the mariachis and in the supermarket and everything. And
Johnny Mercer.
Johnny Mercer, yes, John Williams and Johnny Mercer.
Accentuated.
There's a song. With Jack Shelton singing the throaty blues version of the theme song. But it was interesting because when we finished that interview, now it's my turn to get kind of emotional. And we were leaving the stage, I said, I hope you enjoyed that because I thought that went really well. And Elliott gave me a parting gift when we were leaving the stage. And I have that parting gift.
I gave you one. Oh, great.
Who was the guy in the hospital bed? Who was the person in the bandages?
I couldn't make a joke. I don't know. The audience, I would hope that on the first glance you'd think it was me. You'd think it was the character. And I mean, Marlowe says, tell the guy next door it don't hurt to die, and that's not in the script. And then he also says, I've seen all your pictures too. Wow.
So you did improvise those lines.
Well, I use them. We do it, you know, to set it up. We do it over and over again, and then if Bob didn't like it, it was like the ink on the face. Because taking a chance, that's a big chance. Because, I mean, we would have to clean me up if Bob didn't like it. And it would take about a half an hour, and movies is about time management and money. It's like any other business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Has this been great? You're one of the best. You're one of the best. Can you accept that?
I accept that for all of the inhibited, shy, uncertain people who never gave up trying to be a good person.
Fabulous.